Thank you, Ranjan, and thank you, Shripati sir and Mahadev sir and all the other elders. I have a very bad throat, so I'm very sorry. I'll try to speak as loudly as possible. Um, this is a very great opportunity for me. I think I met Ranjan first time around 8 years ago, when
Yes.
both of us were co-speakers in an event. I think it's the love for Vivekananda and the inspiration of Ramakrishna Math, which probably has
Yes.
bonded us together over these years. Sometime in 2019, I was in Mangalore. And on a Sunday morning, when I think they were doing the commemoration of the 125th anniversary of Chicago Address, if I'm not wrong, I saw that on an early Sunday morning, so many Mangaloreans had turned up for a Swacha Mangaluru program. So I don't know what to speak to such inspired crowd already, because it's easier to tell others to come out and do Seva. But what do you really tell people who are already doing so much Seva? So I really commend the work of Ramakrishna Math Mangaluru for all these Swachha Mangaluru and Swachh Manas programs they're hosting. Also, I think I've been seeing that this is the 21st lecture in this series, and a lot of my gurus have already spoken
Yes.
here.
Yes.
From my college time, Swami Nirbhayanandaji has been the one who has guided me through this life. And Swami Bodhmayanandaji of VIHG, he was the one who kept telling me that it's not only about doing seva, but you also have to come and talk about it, so that, the others know the actual India that is there around. And I used to feel, what's there, seva every time, ಬಲಗೈಲಿ ಮಾಡಿದ ಎಡಗೈಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತಾರೆ. Then he used to say, talk about other inspiring lives, and that, should always motivate the others and give the picture of the actual India that is there. And then, of course, Nivedita Didi has been there. She's a great inspiration. I'm saying so much because I don't know what I'll really do on this platform. So, Kannada elrigu baradrinda nan todil ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು you have to excuse. And of course, like Ranjan said, anytime any of you want me to switch to Kannada, please feel very free and open. Anyway, my Kannada is Kanglish. So I'm also shy to speak Kannada in front of a Bangalore crowd. So in a way, I was relieved when Ranjan said you can talk in English. It's not the best thing to say, but I'm just honestly putting it out there. I just want to share my screen, Ranjan, because I prepared a small presentation. Uh, I'm very happy that people always tease about Indian stretchable time, but everybody here was there before time. So that's a big thing. It's a lot to learn from India that people have. We are punctual. And it's good to see that. And being 7 p.m. on a Monday, everybody's busy day. I thought a PPT will keep people awake and active better than this. So, Seva and self-transformation, the Vivekananda way. So, I just want to share a few experiences through stories. Because many times when we talk about Vivekananda, people say these are such lofty ideals. How do you really live them in daily life? But when you go across the country, Vivekananda himself, they say, wandering monk ಅಂತಲ್ವಾ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರವಾಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಪರಿವ್ರಾಜಕರಾಗಿದ್ರು. So he saw so much which inspired him to meditate on India and nothing else in Kanyakumari. And that is the message he took to the world, what the world can learn from India. So through the stories that I've been fortunate to see across India in the last 10 plus years, I would want to show you some people who are actually living these ideals or lessons of Swami Vivekananda in their life. The whole point of bringing Seva into this whole series is Swamiji said, who serves Jiva serves God indeed. Shiver Jnane, Jiver Seva. So in a way, through Seva is one of the ways of realizing and achieving God, which is actually the noblest and highest purpose of life. All of us are here to pursue. So what is the purpose of Seva? I was recently listening to a small tidbit of a video by Shri Shri Guruji Ravi Shankar. When he said serve, the word itself comes from Seva, which means living like him. When I say him here is this, it's the supreme power or the supreme consciousness, whatever we all can call him or her or nature or whatever you want to call. How does nature give or God give? Expecting nothing in return. It's a famous couplet also we have, right? Taruvar phal nahi kaatte hai. Does the tree eat its own fruit? Does the river drink its own water? What has God asked from us? What has Bharat Mata, our country, asked from us for all that we have been given? So the whole concept of Seva is to give expecting nothing in return. And when we say about the joy which comes with this giving, it is actually, it's beyond just joy of giving. It is just the nature of our actual being. We call it Ananda. Many times there is no actual English word for a lot of our colloquial or regional terms or local terms. Ananda is like, recently Sarvapriyananji was here, right? He was saying we have to see Brahma Prakasha everywhere in all his talks. So this Ananda is the nature of consciousness. So the whole purpose of Seva is living like that supreme being. And that is what we are trying to achieve through this Seva in the journey of transformation. And that's exactly what Swami Vivekananda also said. He said, in this world, always take the position of the giver. Give everything that you have. Give love. Give every little thing you can. Keep out barter. This is many times a very favorite human thing we get into. Which is but natural. But Swamiji always says, take the position of giver. Just give out of your own bounty. Give everything that you have like God gives to us. That is the whole purpose or the spirit of Seva. Can we offer ourselves like that? There's a beautiful song which you people can see later. It says, Seva hai yagna kunda samidasam ham jale. So Seva is like a yagna kunda. Samida andre whatever they put in the homa kunda. Alva. Can we burn ourselves like that in the yagna of Seva? That is the purpose of Seva. That is the spirit with which we have to work. So this example I like quoting sometimes because it's a very relatable example. Lot of you would have heard this, and of course, all of us have seen the beautiful emergence of a butterfly from a caterpillar, right? So the caterpillar is very happy, enjoying its life, eating whatever it gets and everything. Suddenly it realizes this is enough for me. It goes into a cocoon. It undergoes a lot of change, and then it emerges as a beautiful butterfly. So this is the way we all lead our lives. We are so happy, enjoying the comforts and everything in the world. We are like the caterpillars. We have everything. Then suddenly we decide something is not enough in life. What is it that we are lacking? We want to do something. So we get into this cocoon, a spiritual cocoon called Seva, and we emerge as this beautiful butterfly. So Seva actually should be done without expecting anything in return. But whether we like it or not, Seva actually ends up in a lot of self-transformation. I primarily was putting this because many times we think we are doing something for others. Service, not even a word we use. We say help. We help everyone. Our Gitra help madde. We did this, we did that. And Swami Vivekananda, when he went and said, I want to help others, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, his guru, said, who are you? Are you God to help others? You can only serve, you can only worship, you can only, save madbodu anta. So this word serve, we are not helping. And when we serve, many times we think we are changing the world, but we are actually changing our internal world. There is a lot of transformation, a lot of metamorphosis happening within ourselves. So through some examples, I just wanted to show how each of us change. And this, I think, is my firm conviction that anybody who has been volunteering or doing whatever bit for the society has felt, that we have undergone a tremendous change in the years we have been doing it. And this is what Swamiji also said, that it is always preferable that even if you live on grass, you do it for the sake of doing good to others. And he lived it through his life. Even when he went to US and people hosted him in palatial mansions, he actually said, as he was crying, sitting down and crying, that my countrymen, I don't know how much they're suffering. How could I sleep on this big poster bed that is there in this palatial mansion? So Swamiji always said that that's the missed thing, that you think of others, right? And serving these people, the poor, the illiterate, the ignorant, the whatever, the afflicted, these should be your God. And he called this dharma. In India, we have so much reverence to dharma, right? Our highest religion. And then he said, this is our dharma, that we serve whoever is in need. So yeah, so this journey that we take happens because of surrendering itself to a magical process. And Seva is that magical process. Sharanagati bhava antivalva. Sharanagati hondadaga ella sigutte, because you're offering ultimately everything to God. That's what Krishna said in the Gita also. Just offer everything at the feet of the Lord, which is same as the service we do also, right? So Seva is so similar to this process that the butterfly undergoes. And all of us, all we need to do is submit ourselves, surrender ourselves to this cocoon of Seva. It is the process which will make us much better than what we are. So yeah, I think what do we then learn? Why are we calling this a means of self-transformation? One thing the world probably has forgotten now is that we are also interconnected. This is a very beautiful thing of Ramana Maharshi, very small thing. Ramana Maharshi is known to give this simple lessons. Who are you? Who are you? He kept asking a person. And everything he said, suppose the person says, I'm Rama. That's your name, but who are you? I am a businessman. That's what you do, but who are you? So Ramana Maharshi was very known for giving such simple things. And when somebody asked, how are we supposed to treat others? He said, there are no others. How do you treat when there are no others? So this interconnectedness of life is something we are probably forgetting. So this concept of oneness that is there in all the Eastern traditions, if you see, it has been there from time immemorial. This reminds me of a small anecdote I had once read. There was a farmer who was always winning a prize that they had in their, county for growing the best corn. His corn always turned out very well, and it was so edible, looked so good, and the seeds were so perfect. So once a newspaper decided to interview him, and they asked this farmer, how do you get such perfect corn every time? What care do you take? So among the many things that the farmer said, he said, I give good seeds to all my neighbors. The newspaper was surprised. He said, don't you think by giving good seeds to all your neighbors, even the neighbors may start winning this prize and you may lose? He said, how can my corn be good if all my neighbors' corn is bad? There is cross-pollination which happens, a lot of carrying over does. So this farmer had, he had understood this interconnectedness so well. And also that what he wanted, his actual purpose was getting good corn. Not saying that others shouldn't get good corn, so I win the prize. So this interconnected is something that we all have to remember. This inclusive consciousness. Today, all the problems, if you see a lot of them, if you trace the root cause analysis, it's because we see everybody is okay. Nanda itala, nan bere yak yochne madri. And this is what probably COVID time also taught us, that we are more interconnected than we believe, right? And this again, Swamiji says that expansion is life. How do you expand yourself? It's our privilege when we are allowed to be charitable. Because in everybody, we are seeing the Lord and trying to give back, trying to serve the Lord in everyone. So that is expansion is life. Many people, when we say expansion is life, contraction is death, we might think, what does Swamiji really mean? But this is what he means. This inclusive consciousness are we building him. So this is what brings about the journey of self-transformation through Seva. So the Seva Bhava that we say is a very intrinsic value. Whether we realize it or not, it's embedded within all of us. Sometimes you'll be surprised. So this is a lady, a young girl actually that I met in one of the villages in Medak district of Telangana. She only is as tall as you see in the picture. That is, she has no limbs. Can you see what she's doing? She's actually coming and teaching the children of the village. Imagine what should be there in her. And this is not like she's paid or she has a job to do this. A lot of these children who are in slums and go to schools, who is there to make them do homework or, help them with what they learned in the class when they come back from school. So this girl comes daily. She comes on a wheelchair, pushes it on her own, teaches them and goes, right? This is a computer center, which is run in one of the slums in Chennai. You can see Vivekananda there. So this is in some remote corner of slum. You can see there is no building also. With all flex he has built some shed and put some computers there. So when I asked this man, what really inspired you to do this? He said, I didn't get any education. But I see in TV and all, people just do something on computer, they earn well, they lead a good life. So I at least wanted the children and youth of my slum to have it. He doesn't know English, he doesn't know computers. He said one thing, but I am inspired by Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda, when he was just moving out of his, he was casting off his body. He said, I'll always continue to work through many people around the world. And you can actually see that in action. Somebody has raised their hand, Ranjan. I don't know if they want to ask questions now or if they have a...
Answer later. Yeah.
So these are the kind of people you can actually see. This is how the Seva Bhava is so intrinsic. And imagine what these people are asking in return. DVG sings this beautiful song, right? Vanasumadolenna jeevanavu vikasisuvante manavananu godisu guruve. They're all blooming like vanasumas. Probably if we didn't see them, and portray them today, we wouldn't have even come to know. So Swamiji, this is the Seva Bhava Swamiji talks about. When we think Swamiji spoke so much about India, asked us to do big things. But he said every small bit is so important, because he said, even if a stray dog of my country remains without food, my religion would be to first feed and take care of them. So the Seva Bhava is such an intrinsic value. That's how it transforms us. Maya or illusion we call as actually crowded. Budi mujputidena, kenda namaliro Seva Bhavana. But that is how we could learn and get inspired by these people. An interesting story again, when I was living in Bhagyanagar, Hyderabad, a few years ago, I met this man called SP. He was known as SP. I think nobody knew his actual name. Every day morning, 9 o'clock, he used to start and feed all the stray dogs in about 10 areas of Hyderabad around him. So much so that he had a name for every dog and he knew which biscuit every dog likes. He said, this is Bola. He likes Osmania biscuit. This dog likes Parle-G biscuit. Imagine the kind of love the person has. Doing service is one thing. He knows the name of every dog. He knows the favorite. And this is what he said. He knew Kannada. So he said, ನಮ್ಮ ಅಪ್ಪ ಅಮ್ಮ ನಾನು ಅರ್ಧ ಹುಚ್ಚ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರು ನನ್ನ ಹೆಂಡತಿ ಬಂದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಹುಚ್ಚ ಅಂತ ಅವಳಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗೋಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ. So his whole family considered him mad. But he had been doing this for 9 years. And he said, I'm motivated, inspired by my grandma, who never gave any of us food without feeding the strays in the morning. And this is something all of us would have seen at our homes. That's why I'm saying it is so ingrained in the Eastern traditions. And this SP continues to do it, right? And this is again another person, a very young at heart, senior citizen, if I could call, more than 70 plus, 70 years of age. Sharma ji, I met him in Ghaziabad. I don't know if you can make out what he's doing, but he used to build bird houses of thrown away sweet boxes. You can see a Haldiram's box here. So those holes are for the birds to put their children in and for the mother to come and feed through those holes so that the children stay warm. So 70 years and plus, and Sharmaji used to build such boxes and distribute it across Ghaziabad. He used to put his number everywhere and just do it as a seva, not as, money. He used to say, I'm one way tackling trash and saving so many sparrows, because sparrows are actually becoming extinct. We hardly see sparrows nowadays, right? So this is the kind of love, and intrinsically people feel they have to do something even for animals. So a lot of times we question what happens if you feed 10 dogs, or what happens if you save 20 sparrows. I think again all of you would have heard this story, but just reiterating because it's so much in context here. There was a monk who was walking along the ocean line, and every starfish, the starfishes come to the shore, but they actually die. They can only live in the water. So, but still they get washed away to the shore. So this monk used to throw away every starfish on his route back to the sea. So father and son were taking a walk one day, and they asked the monk, how many will you do? There are thousands and lakhs coming ashore. So the monk takes one starfish, throws it back into the ocean and says, I made a difference in this starfish life. And that's enough for this moment. So many times we think what happens with this small thing we are doing, but these ripples are what caused the big whole. And that's the way Sharmaji or SP are trying to do whatever they can in the world. So what transformation Seva, when you go, brings about this, it brings about so much optimism in you. Many times if you see, we get, all of you would have realized this, if you reflect upon it, we feel so frustrated when we see problems around us. Oh, see what is happening, this is like this, that is like that. But the moment you try to do something, the inaction into action, you start feeling more positive about it. And Swamiji also spoke about this as conviction in the power of goodness. For anything to be successful, the first thing which is required is that firm conviction in the power of goodness. Believe that whatever we do will lead in goodness, however small that act might be. So this is one transformation that you see Seva actually bringing about, right? So beautiful quote again by Swamiji. Sometimes only few quotes of Swamiji are reiterated again and again, but he has said it all. We might need ages just to read Swamiji. He says everybody can show what evil is, but he is a friend of mankind who actually finds a way out of the difficulty. So Seva, doing some service, actually helps us think about the solution and be, kind of channel all our helplessness into compassion and actually think of the solution and be a change. In management terms, because you all have come from many colleges, we speak about circle of concern and circle of influence, right? Circle of concern is always so big. It keeps making us tensed. But there's a circle of influence, small one. I might make a small change, but that also leads to a change in the society, right? Lot of it is stories. What are the first things you see when you see this? As soon as I ask, a lot of people say poverty, and we feel so bad for them. But the first picture is from again a slum in Bangalore, where a school is run for migrant workers. by a lady, a volunteer called Lata Rao for more than 15 years now. That girl comes to school every day with a sibling because her parents are daily late, but she still comes to school. Then this is again from a slum in Hyderabad near an area called Muspet. Look at the happiness on those children's places. They're just happy sitting there and studying. There's an ala passing by, there's construction happening. We look for a study table, a chair, light sari barta idya, mundin barta idya, hindin barta idya. So all the time we see so much of negative and we see this picture. But this is actually how children are studying in India. This picture, I don't know how many of you have seen leprosy affected patients. They usually lose all their limbs. If you see this lady, she's actually doing artwork with her knuckles. She holds needles between her knuckles. This is the artwork she has done by just doing that. This was at a leprosy home in Hyderabad again. How, look at the contentment on the faces of those children. I mean, they just have a bag. They're happy they're going to school. I'd asked them once, you look so happy. She said, I went to school today. We are learning. Right? And then look at the resilience. This lady who was affected, that knuckles, we give so many different reasons, right? Why we are not able to do things. How is that lady doing all that artwork? There's a video actually I can share later. There was no time here, but I actually saw how she does it. And I thought this would be the best gift we can actually give people. I got a lot from her. So gratitude for life again. How many times do we crib? We didn't get this. Today water was not there for 4 hours. We lost power. In Bangalore, it's been raining since 3 days and people are acting like it's the end of the world. So much rain. How do we do this? We have to sit at home not and look at how against all odds people are trying to, carry on with their life. So how much gratitude do we learn in life? This is how Seva leads to self-transformation. Not because we are keeping that as the aim while doing Seva. And of course, clears a lot of misconceptions. The first time I see about India, girls are not sent to study, girls are married off. Of course, there are problems. But even recently, we did a parents meeting of all children that we sponsor through one of our projects in Bangalore. On a Sunday morning, about 300 children turned up with their parents. 70% of them were girls. Some of them are doing CA, MBA, and all of them from small busties and, whose parents are maids, drivers. So actually working on the field clears a lot of misconceptions. We think so much different of India because of how it is portrayed in different places. So even to bust those myths, we have to get down on the field and then we realize and feel so good about what India is and actually what it can give to the world. Again, just a story. And this Swamiji actually follows Vivekananda again. That's why I was saying, imagine Vivekananda said, I'll continue to inspire people. And he is still doing it. When we went to Kanyakumari, actually, we took a wrong turn by mistake. And we saw that there is a small center called Vivekananda Kudil. And the Swamiji, again a 70 plus years young person, said that, I started working here during tsunami times when I built about 300 homes. But then I saw there is so much to do here and so much love in people that he just continued working there for ages. He's just been doing everything that is necessary. The children come there to study. For the women, he runs tailoring center, a small center where probably cars cannot even enter, right? And recently, just last week, I was in a place called Sangola, which is very near to Pandharpur. And there I met this lady called Dr. Sanjeevini Kelkar. She apparently she's from Pune, from a very well-educated family, moved into Sangola when she got married. The first lady doctor there, and for years she was the only lady doctor. When she saw that the famine of 1972 had wreaked such havoc, she had a good job, right? And she had a family, nursing home and everything. She could have just led her life, but she was so affected by what was going on that in 1978, she started Mata Balak, one of the organizations to work for the mothers and the children. And I put this photo because they run a school for all the needy kids around. And how beautiful that school is. What Swamiji spoke about quality education, right? They did a flowers conference just to teach the second standard children about what different kinds of flowers are there. Because that's a drought prone area also and not many plants grow. So the teachers are so committed and 1978 and 2022, they're still running it. And then I think about 3 months ago, I went to Ramakrishna Mission Sohra in Chirapunji, better known as Chirapunji, in Meghalaya. Ramakrishna Mission Sohra has been running 48 schools around the state to cater to education. More than 11,000 children study there. And this is happening from 1924. Most things probably from before I was born, and many of you here, of course, weren't born. So many times what happens is while we are doing Seva, I think you had a lecture by Dr. R. Balu also, right? He usually tells this joke, which I find very amusing and how true it is. He says, ಟೂತ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದ್ ದಿನದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಸಮಾಜ ಬದಲ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತೀರಾ 3 ದಿನದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ. So no patience. We think as soon as we do something, the world is changing. It's a long process, but we have to believe that we are just a link in that whole chain. So that's when I travel across the country, I realize people say I'm doing this work since emergency. I'm working since, maybe 1940. And we have started this school. And imagine Ramakrishna Mission has been running this school. It's going to be 100 years now. And when I talk Meghalaya, all of you who are especially interested in geography, got close to Bangladesh border. So there are many schools on the border where it's not even easy to work. There's a place called Shella where they've started the first school. So how much of patience does this kind of seva teach us? That things are not changing in a day. Again, to give a very amusing example, there was a monkey which got tired of searching for food. So what it did is it planted a few groundnut plants in its backyard. What it did, every day it used to see, ಬೆಳೆದಿದ್ಯಾ ಕಡಲೆಕಾಯಿ ಬೆಳೆದಿದ್ಯಾ ಅಂತ. It will groundnut grow if you keep uprooting the plant daily. So patience is so important, right? And then humility. Imagine the kind of work these people are doing, and they're still not kind of proud of it. They feel that it's just karna hai na, we should do this. What is there? Again, when I was near Sangola this time, I met a person in a village called Vatambare. Power. They call him Jaldut. Like I said, mentioning again, this is all a drought-prone region. So he has done a lot of work. Jaldut, messenger for water, right? He has done a lot of work in association with Mata Balak and another organization called Seva in Pune to revive a lot of water sources, the ancient ones, and find indigenous solutions to water. This person has won many awards, like in lakhs. And he said, somebody told me that he has given all the prize money back to the village, saying all this work belongs to the village. How can the prize belong to me? How can the money belong to me? And when I asked him this, how could you really do this? He said, हाँ परसों भी मिला था ना 25,000 एक लड़की की शादी के लिए दे दिया. I got 25,000 just day before. I gave it off to a girl's wedding. Now look at how much work people do, and they are not even known in the world, and they're not expecting it. So doing seva as a transformational journey makes us so humble. Arey, hum kya kar rahe ultimately? It has to motivate us, but it also keeps us so grounded that imagine somebody doing so much, and what are we actually able to do, right? Especially in this selfie seva world, where you can just catch your, we can catch our phones and take a selfie of every work we are doing. This matters a lot, how much humility we have. So a lot of people ask that, is it bad to then post photos? Because a lot of volunteers, we get also have this doubt. So I say, intrinsically, we should know why we are posting it. Probably to spread message of the good, to keep it, nice and positive, the environment, and inspire others to do that. Let's to talk about ourselves. So that is the way if we could present the photos, brings in a lot of humility in us. So again, like Swamiji said, because this is all the Vivekananda way, and you can see how beautifully everything maps to what Swamiji told ages ago. What a visionary he was. He said the purity, patience, and perseverance are the 3 essentials, and above all, love. None of these people working for the society could probably work if they didn't have this love. And I recently met Asha, a woman, I think she lives somewhere near Ramnagra, and she actually cremates bodies, unclaimed bodies. Imagine how difficult a work this is. And especially for women, right? She has kids, and she said one of her uncles used to be a ambulance driver, and he used to get called every time they find a body near the railway tracks, which is not claimed. So while he was doing this, she thought, she got a doubt as to, okay, my uncle takes these bodies and puts them in the government, mortuary or wherever, but who is going to give them a proper burial? Because especially in our dharma, we believe in dignity in death, right? So even to that level, there should be dignity, and all the karya should be done properly. So she said, if they have nobody, why can't I do it? and she started cremating these unclaimed bodies. And so much so that her family pushed her out. Her husband said, "Hena hetod jate nan irakagala. I can't be with a lady who actually lifts dead bodies." Still, she continues to do this work. Imagine what kind of difficult work people are doing. How much humble this should actually make us. So these are the kind of people you actually see around. And we had another volunteer many years ago. I think this was about 10 years ago when I just started working full time. A young student. She said she wants to teach, and I mapped her to one of the destitute homes for boys. She used to study in college, go every day to teach these boys later. Once she had given these boys some homework, and when she was correcting their assignments, I saw she was using magnifying lens. I was a little surprised because the font was pretty big. So I thought, why is she using it? And that day she told me, "Didi, I actually only have 70% vision in my eyes. That's the reason I have to use a magnifying lens even to correct assignments." Imagine the kind of Seva Bhava she used to have. That she had 70% vision. First of all, she was not complaining about life or why only I had to undergo this. And she still wants to give back to the society. And over the years, that's why I said so many people you end up meeting like this. That it shows you that how grounded we are to be. One more story like this is we used to do a lot of volunteering in a blind hostel in Hyderabad. Um, and in blind hostel, I don't know how many of you are aware, but there were, especially some years ago, there were very few braille printers available. So every page, sheet of paper we write, to convert it into braille, apparently it took more than 4 hours or something. And they used to do it with some knob thing like this. They type it like this. Their hands and all become very, very, they get those bubbling things and all this. And in such a hostel, there were two boys who once said, "Why do you always ask us what we need? Can you tell us what we can do for the society?" To visually challenged boys. This is the spirit with which people want to do Seva. And this is a true example of how Sevit becomes Sevak. That everybody can actually contribute back to the society. Many times, when we are doing Seva, we think some people are there just to take Seva, right? I think the greatest empowerment anybody can do is by making them feel they can also give back to society. Recently, the same Sangola, when I was narrating such a story, the Dr. Sanjeevani who started it was saying that once one of the students' father had a paralytic stroke, and she asked one of her donors to keep supporting the education of the student. It seems after about 4 years, the mother of the student came back and said, "Now I am able to afford my son's education. So please take back this money that I have saved from whatever you give me and use it to educate another student." This is the kind of people we see. We always talk about, "Hey, basti, adu, idu." What is it? It is so different. You have to walk into some bastis. I have gone and eaten in their houses. They serve you with so much love. They want to educate their daughters. The men pay a lot of respect. There are always exceptions everywhere. But this teaches us so much about India and the world itself when we go like this, right? So I think to just summarize the examples, what I was trying to bring about as Seva for self-transformation. When Swami Vivekananda returned from the West, he delivered a series of lectures. Now we all know when, I'll take questions after this, Ranjit. I think I just have a few more slides.
Yes.
So when Swami Vivekananda went to the West, like whatever he meditated in Kanyakumari on the rock, right? It was all on Bharat Mata. What can India give to the world and what can I bring back so that our masses are uplifted? So when he went and came back, especially, he delivered a series of lectures. And I think even in the first one that he delivered, he said the lesson that India can give to the world is oneness in practice. If you remember, we started this whole talk also by discussing about this inclusive consciousness, that we are all interconnected. We are all one. And Swamiji spoke about expansion in life. So this oneness in practice, he said, can be brought about by doing seva. By serving man, you serve God. And so by seeing God in every man, we can practice this oneness. So he in fact questioned people. You should also remember when these times were. Before the 1900s, Swamiji, gave up his mortal body in 1902. You should remember the times then when people had a lot of differences in society. They wouldn't probably touch people and all. And he said, how will you even get salvation? Just by being confined to books. If you keep reading about that everybody is one, you will not get salvation. Can you at least feed a hungry mouth with some bread, right? And that is when he said all love is expansion and all selfishness is cut. And another beautiful message that Swamiji gave, he said, for the next 50 years, let Mother India be your God. What other God is there? She is the God that is awake. So make Mother India your God, right? And he said, beyond everything, we need Chitta Shuddhi, purifying ourselves, our thoughts, and our actions. And how do we do this? By worshipping people. Worship everyone as God, not only man. He even spoke of animals. And these are the first gods we have to worship, and the first gods we have to worship are our countrymen. This is when Swamiji spoke about serving the motherland, serving our country. And I saw Nivedita Didi also in one of the lectures had spoken about, Seva for nation building. This is what it means. Man making leads to nation building. And these are the two most beautiful lessons Swamiji gave. Man making for nation building. Again, an anecdote, I think all of you would have heard of this, but there were a father and son arranging a puzzle. So this was actually the world map. So the little boy was struggling actually when he had to actually do the map. The father turned the puzzle to the other side, and the boy did it very easily because it was the face of a man. So the lesson it had is when we build ourselves, we build our nation, we build the world. So it's ourselves that we need to transform. And this message of man making for nation building and ultimately building the whole world, because in India we speak about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, is the message that Swamiji gave. And he said, started from here. We should also focus on the words that Swamiji says. He says, worship. Seva is puja for him. Seva is an act of worship. Many times we say Seva, volunteering is duty. Duty also is you're just doing it because you have to do. But he says it's worship. Do it as puja. Seva should be done as puja. Worship the men, worship the animals, worship the countrymen, right? And very beautifully, what said, this whole thing we have to read. The whole chapter is very good, where Swamiji speaks about oneness in practice. But when a disciple asks, sir, what is really the necessity at all for doing good to others? Swamiji said it's for our own good. Why? Because we forget the ego. We are always associating ourselves with this body and being, kind of feeling so good about ourselves. It's all about the body. But the more we think of others, the more we think of doing seva, we are so forgetful of this ego. And we become very, very oblivious of the self, that the body that is there. Then we reach that state which Ramana Maharshi said, right, where who are others? There are no others, right? And Swamiji importantly says, this is also one of the ways of God realization. There's a debate many times as to when do we do our everything else for realizing God if we keep doing seva. What beautiful way there do we need than seeing God in everyone. Then you actually realize God, right? So this is where Swamiji, how beautiful it is if we actually reflect on this, meditate on this. He could have just said moksha or anything as the motto of the Ramakrishna movement which started. But he said Atmano mokshartam jagat hitaya cha. Yes, for the liberation of one's own self, but also for the good of the world. And this is what he tried to live all his life and also preached all his life through all his teachings. And Kali Yuga, they say, right? Harinama is the easiest way of achieving God. I think the other simplest way is seva, that you keep serving. And someday we realize a state where there are no others and all of us are one. And this oneness in practice will bring us to the lesson of everything that we have learned. We are all expressions of that one but supreme God that is there. So how should we really give? We all keep singing this song, but I don't know how many times you've got too much in the meaning of this, written by the Bhakti poet Narsingh Mehta. Sung mostly on Gandhi Jayanti, so many people also think Gandhiji wrote it. But it was written by a Bhakti poet many years ago. He wrote it beautifully, even the first 4 lines. As to Vaishnava Janato Tene Kahiye Je, Pida Parai Janere. Who is a Vaishnava? We speak so much about Vaishnava, how much does he worship, all that. But Narsingh Mehta says, who is a Vaishnava? He is a Vaishnava who, Je Pida Parai Janere. He understands the pains of others. But what is more important than that? Par dukh ke upkar kare to ye. One is understanding the pain of others. Swamiji also says, right, a harmonious personality is 3H. Head to think is required. Heart to feel is also required. But what you also need is hand to work. We keep thinking and feeling, but we have to convert it into action. So, पर दुख के उपकार करे तो ये, when he serves those in misery, मन अभिमान न आने रे. He doesn't let that pride get to his mind. Oh yes, I'm doing seva. I left everything and I'm doing seva. This is the first lesson one of my mentors also gave me when I quit my job. People will keep patting your back. Oh, Infosys Pitputla, Infosys Pitputla. Don't get carried away by this. Because ultimately, I think over years, even Ranjan and others will agree, we are all doing this. I keep saying there is so much selfishness in selfless causes. We are all happy and probably sleeping peacefully at night, which is why we are doing this. So, this is the most beautiful lesson one of my mentors then gave me. So, par dhukke upkar kare to ye man abhiman na aane. Never get that pride. Go to our mind. And this is the legacy we belong to in India. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, Jan 23rd is his Jayanti, right? Coming soon. He said it does not matter which of us will be alive to see India free, but it's important that our motherland is free. Imagine the kind of legacy we come from. I mean, they said it's okay if we are not there, but our motherland should be free. That's the spirit that these people have left for us, and that's the legacy we live in. And this is how we have to do seva. And whether we want it or not, self-transformation is bound to come. That's why I made a small change in the topic when Ranjan gave seva for self-transformation. I said seva and self-transformation because we should not do seva for something. But seva definitely brings about self-transformation. Sorry for that small change, Ranjan. But I felt that carried so much import because ಒಂಥರ side effect ಅಂತಾರಲ್ಲ ಅಥವಾ ಫ್ರೀ ಬಂತು ಏಕ್ಲೋ ಏಕ್ ಮುಫ್ತ್ ಅಂತ. That's how self-transformation comes with seva, though we don't want to do it. And it's a journey, of course. Do we always stick to being so good? No. Again, we go back to our humane ways of feeling bad, feeling proud. But again, we do seva and wash off them. Parama Puja Swami Gautamananda ji always used to tell in college days once when I was asking him something that how do we keep to these good qualities, good thoughts always. He used to say, Navella dischargeable batteries. We have to keep recharging ourselves. We are all batteries. Swabhavika. It's obvious that we get discharged. That's why we have to keep going to satsangs, meet like-minded people, everything to keep charging ourselves. So it's okay to sometimes go back and feel proud or feel, kind of great about something or feeling like not doing anything. What we should do is not being there in that state. We should remember we have to come back of it and why we are actually doing it. And the words of the great monks, the great leaders that we have had will surely guide us in that way. And this is what I wanted to share. I think because we have been talking about so much of seva also, how much I think India and the Eastern traditions, like I said, have been built upon living for others. Because one of the greatest prayers we sing is for the sukha and hita of everyone. So I just want to end this talk and before that thank Mangaluru University, Ramakrishna Ashrama Mangaluru, and of course Ranjan again for giving me this opportunity. I want to end again with this Shanti mantra which prays for the good of everybody in the world. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukha bhag bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. We always say bahujana hitaya, bahujana sukhaya. So let us all work together for the good of our country and the world at large. Vande Mataram.